Welcome back to our next episode of Transformers, where we're going to be taking a look at Generation 1 from the 80s, Season 1, Episode 5. You can even watch this episode on Netflix now if you want to check it out and then see what our thoughts are on it.
We're not actually sponsored by Netflix.
I know.
Not yet.
Or buy them physically in any shop, like a Best Buy. I try to say where to get like the children's books, and for the other podcasts, I made little inserts for those.
It's fine. I was just joking.
Okay, fine. I don't want to be sued.
Don't forget to introduce us and yourself.
All right, so to my left is Thomas, who is not going to introduce himself, and through my computer monitor is Sammy, who I'm going to introduce for her as well.
I mean, all right. I had a cool name I was going to announce, but just have to wait till next episode now.
No, please announce your name. Pretend I didn't do that.
Okay, cool. I'm Hot Samimus.
Hot Samimus.
So, should I? So, you know what? I think my name sounds better. I could just be Hot Shawnimus.
Also Hot Tomimus.
Hot Tomimus.
I'm sorry.
If we come up with nicknames, that'll be my nickname. Is Hot Shawnimus. People will be like, man, what kind of ego do you have, man?
No, I swear it's a joke. I swear it's a pun off of a Transformer. Just let me have this.
All right, then. So, here's the podcast. The following podcast is an older podcast from 2018. Please like and subscribe to hear future podcast episodes when they appear on YouTube. You can also hear the podcast by searching Sparkcast on any program that searches for podcasts, or go to geekaid.com. So, let's start off again with what we liked and didn't like about this episode. Before we get into the main stuff that I know you're all going to talk about, I'm going to talk briefly about
this episode.
The weird, awkward running of Soundwave. I was like, were they trying for comedy? Like, he runs away, but he's flopping all over the place. And I'm like, and the background music makes it feel like they're trying to make comedy that just doesn't work.
What? You thought that? Well, I guess
he's got 5 cassette tapes in him, all right? It's sometimes, maybe all the cassette tapes just don't really fit right, and he's just kind of like, man, I hate this, and it just kind of flops around.
I hate that I have to be the one to point this out, but I think they were trying to make a point of just how soundly Starscream and the Decepticons were defeated under his command. I think that's what they were trying to show, is just like, we are getting... Well, I guess they're not getting slaughtered because they're not dying, but Soundwave is just like, I have to get the hell out of here. Losing control, he's just freaking out so much at like what's going on, and he's just like sliding all over the place in a ridiculous fashion. I mean, it's certainly weird for him to be running like that. You would think they would do something, maybe do that with Thundercracker or Skywarp or even Starscream for them to react in a way like that, but not Soundwave.
It's super out of character.
It's definitely, it's absolutely out of character. I see what they were trying to do, but they should have did that with another character.
Me, Grimlock, no like you!
One thing I thought was funny, though, is the humans are like, there are Decepticons here to their boss, and these are just regular factory workers. I need to save this clip because almost every Japanese show afterwards, and even some of Season 2, people are like, oh my god, that giant robot, what's that? These things have been on your planet for years. Do you not watch the news? Do the writers just not, even try? They try to be like, oh, you know what, there's some continuity, but we'll just half-ass it. So,
I mean, maybe they don't like to be televised or whatever, because there was another guard that kind of said the same thing. He's heard of the Autobots, Transformers and stuff, but he said he's never seen one in person, so...
This is for Thomas. So what did you think of Humans vs. Decepticons, Round 2, non-Rock Edition? Well, this time, instead of throwing rocks at them, they actually tried to use their guns.
Yeah, I kind of tuned that part out from the start, where they were just telling Decepticons to freeze with their guns pointed at them. It was like, come on, why are you even trying to confront them? They really don't know what the Transformers are for some reason. They really are just encountering them for the first time if they think that there's anything that they can do with their guns.
They're just very tenacious. They just don't want to give up without a fight.
So, I guess in this very scene, this same scene essentially, there's another point where Cliffjumper's just doing dumb, bloodthirsty stuff. This time, instead of getting smacked by Megatron, he gets smacked around by, I think it was Starscream again this time. Yeah. He just runs in and Starscream just smacks him away. But then the rest of the Autobots come and they chase everybody.
Apparently I just don't have this hatred for Cliffjumper like you do. I barely remember him in this episode.
I don't even either. I think he's focusing on all the bloodthirsty Autobots because he's just like, man, these guys.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Because this whole concept just seems so dumb. You guys are so hopeless. We talked about this in the first 3 episodes where, who was it? Hound or somebody.
Yeah.
They were doing the bloodthirsty stuff. Cliffjumper's doing this. But it wasn't just limited to the show. In the books that we read, it kind of happened there. Who was it that got jailed by Soundwave?
And he shoots him in the
and
face.
He keeps fighting and shoots them. And like, you're in a jail cell. Why are you starting crap with these people? And they're just going to team up and just shoot you until you ball up in the fetal position. Come on. You guys are so stupid sometimes. You don't think anything about the situation.
Nah, just shoot it. It solves everything.
Do the writers know how computers work? Because Chip is given a disk that'll talk to his computer at work. Okay. A disk doesn't connect to another location. You need a modem for that. Unless this is just a magic disk. Or maybe it's actually a program. Maybe he already has a modem and this disk just happens to be the program that will allow him access to the lab computer.
It's getting a firmware
I think
update.
It was a program.
Okay.
So they're on the same program network kind of thing.
Okay, so that's understandable, but what's not is what happens next. So his job sends him the antimatter formula on his computer, and Chip rips up the disk. the antimatter formula is on your computer, not the disk. You need to destroy your computer.
He erased it off his computer?
Why did they even need to send it to Chip? He's already got it in his head because he helped create the formula. Why did he have to memorize it after getting it? He helped.
Someone's really angry about it.
Wow, it's weird that, like, I don't know, plot point with Chip. We both seem to have 2 different takeaways with the way that you're reacting compared to, like. Because with me, it just seems... So I guess this is the first time I'm seeing Chip. He's not just the guy in the wheelchair that just seems so useless. Because I think I've seen one random episode where he's just rolling around on the battlefield, just falling over and stuff like that, and get picked on. And I guess the way I always felt about humans with the Transformers is just always to seem you guys are a waste of space, just causing problems and stuff like that. So I just thought he was always just another useless human. But I guess the way they introduce him, child genius... And then on top of that, what he does with the computer, with controlling Prowl, it just seemed, okay, you're actually more useful than any other human we've seen so far.
And what are the odds? Like, this random Transformer is like, I need to tech to a computer, and it happens to be the very same computer with the same character who's already being hunted by Decepticons.
That part seemed really dumb. Who are you calling out help to? What are you just sending just a random SOS into space? You have to have Autobots. Like, transmit your location or contact Optimus or something. He just sends out a random SOS.
And what happened was he got shot and got injured his battle computer? Does that mean he can't shoot his gun because he has no targeting system? Can he not tell friend from foe? Does he not even know how to punch anymore?
Like he lost all his motor systems somehow, his battle computer.
Which apparently includes walking.
Yeah. Yeah, he couldn't even stand up.
Yeah,
especially after watching him control Prowl like that, actually using the environment around him, like putting him in the plane and shooting off all those missiles and stuff like that, I was like, oh, well, I mean, you actually seem a lot more useful than even some of the other Autobots. He should do that, take that job full time, control like Cliffjumper, and get rid of him. He's have him stop doing stupid stuff.
Cliffjumper.
All right, man. He totally is out for Cliffjumper's blood now.
Yeah, he completely turned me around on what I always thought of like Chip and the rest of the humans.
What do you guys think, Nen, of Starscream's reign as about to say president, but as leader of the Decepticons?
Good. He did a good job for the circumstances that he was given. Going against the Autobots is very tough work. We could see that Megatron has not survived he has survived, but it's been very troublesome with the Autobots. And I think Starscream has done as well as he could, and probably as well as Megatron leading.
I feel like in a lot of those battles, he's kind of short-handed as well, so...
Also, yeah, probably like no one is listening to him.
Yeah, the thing is, okay, so segue into it. But at first, the episode starts continuing from the last episode, which is extremely rare in 1980s television, especially cartoons, having continuity like that. That wasn't standalone.
Yeah, and this was like one big story arc or anything like that. Explicitly, it's not like a part 2. It was just a separate episode that just kind of continued.
But then... Okay, going back to Starscream's thing, though, he goes back for Soundwave. You think that would inspire some loyalty, but instead Thundercracker's just like, hey, good job on your first outing as leader. And I'm like, wow, no respect.
Yeah, I
also enjoy...
Go ahead.
I also enjoy how, like, when Starscream is retreating from that first fight, he just purposely runs into Optimus and then flies off. And I'm like, what kind of petty maneuver was that?
I mean, I kind of had like the same reaction with just the way that they were like talking down on him just because they lost. You let him have this is like his first loss under command. You guys are already abandoning him. Like, what about all the other times? You've been nothing but losers under Megatron. How many losses were those? And you guys don't abandon him. Why don't you give him a chance?
Well, no, the last episode, they got the Energon cubes they needed to make the space bridge, and they made a successful space bridge. There you go, under Megatron's command.
That's not a fight, though.
All right, Shawn, that doesn't count.
It doesn't count. Not one bit.
If Starscream was given the opportunity to make the space bridge work, he would have done it fine.
Yeah, Megatron said he didn't trust them. Didn't Starscream build that big gun that they were shooting at mountains? That he kind of built, and then he kind of started wasting energy.
This is going to become the hashtag Starscream Protector Squad podcast.
You got to set the record straight. I'm not biased like some of these other Transformer fans.
I'm completely biased.
Anything else about Starscream's reign before we go into animation errors?
Yeah, that was about it. I mean, wasn't really a whole lot that they did with it. It would have been nice to do more, but since Megatron wasn't dead and he was clearly coming back already, I think he already had contact with Mirage and not Mirage, Reflector and the camera guy.
We'll see more of them. It'll be okay.
Okay, so animation errors. So, did anyone else get that this was a completely different animation studio that drew these backgrounds and Transformers?
Yup.
Because we go to Cybertron, the background is completely different for Cybertron, and then when you go into Shockwave's place, the entire background and everything is different too, and Megatron's face is actually drawn slightly differently. Like, he has angular designs on his cheeks, and he's missing those black eyebrows, like that black plate that was always colored from the previous episode.
Mm-hmm.
Also, every time they did, like, a zoom-in of Megatron's face, like, it was super detailed for no reason. It had, like, lines of shading and stuff, and, like, as you said, like, it was really angular, and just, it was designed very nicely, which is weird, and it was just him. He's nobody else's face.
But the animators of this really love a certain color. All of Cybertron and all of Shockwave's place is pink. Which just leads me to another question. So, the Transformers are supposed to be robots in disguise, and the first thing that Bumblebee thinks to do is pink seat cushions. I don't even think those exist in real life.
I mean, maybe he's got, like, tinted windows or some kind of, like, reflective skin on it that nobody can see inside.
Even though I like the animation, I thought the battles themselves were kind of clunky. Like, they weren't as fluid as the last episode.
Yeah, they definitely spent more time on details, and also, like... Also, the humans looked better in this episode.
Oh, yeah, there was a lot of horrible Spike faces last episode.
Even in some of the previous episodes, there was the stuff that they were doing with the humans, the proportions were off. Especially, I think, the very first episode, Spike and Sparkplug show up. Spike is a large man that's as big as his father.
Yeah!
I don't even remember that.
That was the very first episode. This one I didn't notice as much.
Also, you can tell they're not very good at movement because at the end, when Megatron and the Decepticons are landing, it's just a still image of them standing and being slowly drawn moving the animation still slowly downwards so they don't have to do any movement. But the worst animation for this episode was Soundwave. This episode opens up his chest to make the Energon cubes in a really horrid side view animation. Did you guys see that?
I didn't catch that one.
So?
It was really horrible. It was only like 3 seconds, but it was just so awful. Like, it stood out.
Apparently, neither of us thought that it stood out that much, I guess.
I mean, I definitely remember the scene. I didn't recognize anything, like, bad about it.
It was right in the beginning.
It looked weird, but...
Of course, who can forget Soundwave's ability to absorb or transfer the data from human brains as a natural extension of his ability to read the minds of Transformers. Oh, no, wait. Those are two completely different powers.
Yeah, so this is one of those things where I just I don't know that much about Transformers, especially the G1 stuff. I guess he just has this power as well. I kind of had the same thing with Hound as well, because he shows up again after being gone for a little while. And apparently Hound can, he has holographic powers as well. He can multiply.
Oh, yeah, he had them in the pilot, too, I think. He just didn't use them to that extent.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he was the one that created the hologram of the entire city.
Are you serious?
Yeah, in the 3rd episode.
I thought that was Mirage. Whoops.
Or was that... No, Mirage only becomes invisible. He doesn't create holograms. It's Hound that creates holograms.
Yeah, because that makes sense with his name.
What, Hound?
I was being very sarcastic.
I know. I was trying to... Okay. I was like, wait, what? I was trying to think of a way that Hound would actually make sense.
So, I guess basically he has the same powers as the Decepticon that... Well, I guess it's not the same power. It's Reflector. That's his name, right? The camera Decepticon?
Does he make multiples?
No,
there's just 3 of him.
There's just 3 of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you saw when they were shooting, when Megatron was shooting at Hound, they were going through them.
It was going through, yeah, because he's just a hologram.
How are these people not every episode? Why isn't Optimus just oh, what are we gonna do? I know. We'll send in the guy who can turn invisible and the guy who can create holograms. Why are they not just used every episode to get to the Decepticons?
They should use them.
That's too OP.
Yeah, they should use them more often. I don't know why. I guess this is part of Optimus not being a good tactical leader as well, because he said he's using his most powerful or most useful Autobots. He sent half his team on patrol. He mentioned that in episode 4. That's why they were kind of shorthanded, during the roll call.
He sent them out on patrol after they've already completely defeated the Decepticons.
Yeah, and they weren't able to discover the Decepticons building this whole city underwater, even though they have Bumblebee the whole time, who can apparently do reconnaissance underwater.
Yeah, he should have checked out the ship.
But Mirage and Hound, they finally come back, so I guess their patrol is over.
There was an interesting animation error where they're trying to hunt Chip, and Soundwave opens his chest, reuses a stock shot where he's inside before switching back to him standing outside, being outside of Chip's house. And then right after that, Soundwave talks, and they forgot to actually modulate his voice, so it's just regular Frank Welker voice.
How did I miss that?
Oh yeah, there was a really odd animation error where after Chip talks near the end of the episode, there's a lot of paint splotches on his outfit for a second or two before it cuts to the next scene. As if someone just spilled paint on the animation cell and was like... I was like, F it. This episode's got to go. I'm going to get fired if I don't quickly send this out. It was just it was the most hilarious thing I'd ever seen. I would totally get that animation cell.
It's got to be out there somewhere.
Oh, the funniest thing was at the end when Sunstreaker picks Chip up. I was thinking, with that.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, he's squeezing him. It didn't seem like he was picking him up in a delicate way, but I was like, okay, he's not squirming in pain, so I guess they really do have fine motor control and I can do this in a delicate way.
Well, also, because Starscream picks him up in the wheelchair too, and I'm just how are you not tipping him over and him just falling out?
They were pretty kind to him, it seemed like.
Yeah, and they were kind to the other scientists too. When they go to the base or whatever, and it's just we need the other human. Leave him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just just leave him. It's fine. We could kill him.
They can't kill people. They can only threaten to kill them. As long as their gun isn't
But
facing.
we also...
Well, Megatron,
he never
got
see
pissed
that
off.
guy again.
Yeah.
We actually never see that guy again, though, right?
The scientist?
Yeah.
He's gone, because they leave... I assume they leave him alone in the factory while they go and hunt down... Oh, no, wait. No, he stays there the whole time. Okay, never mind.
He did.
Yeah, maybe he was just in another room or something.
Screen.
Yeah. Well, if he was standing in that room when he blew up the antimatter energon cube, then yeah, he's dead.
I guess this doesn't really count an explicit animation error, but it has something to do with animation that is just still kind of confusing me. It's just the scale of Laserbeak is just completely throwing me off because it seems he's small. Well, I immediately assumed that he's a small, bird-sized, small enough to fit inside a Soundwave. I guess when Megatron came back, Laserbeak came and perched on his arm.
Yeah.
But then there was the scene where he's chasing after Spike and Bumblebee. They go hide in a parking garage. Now, Laserbeak, he would either be the same size as Bumblebee or smaller, but he doesn't go after them. In that same thing, he just flies away as if he couldn't fit. I mean, I couldn't understand why didn't he just go after them. He had them on the run, and he seems like he's more than capable of destroying the scouts himself. So
I don't question any of the scales anymore. I give up.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll probably have to get to that point. I couldn't handle it. Like, I paused watching it. I was like, I need to look at like a scale chart. Somebody needs to plot this out for me. Am I crazy or what? How big is Laserbeak? And it seems like he is supposed to be the same size, but it just keeps changing.
Everyone keeps changing. Like, no one has a consistent size.
Yeah, I guess that's just something I gotta move past too.
So, how about we move to main character?
Hey, boys, we're gonna be movie stars!
I think that Chip is actually the main character this episode. He's like the whole focus and the reason that everything happens.
Yeah.
He even
Agreed.
controls Prowl at the end to save the Autobots. Wait, not the end. He controls Prowl, and then he helps put another device later to help save the Autobots on Thundercrack.
Yeah.
I don't know how he specifically helped, because Megatron's like, oh man, the antimatter's going to explode. I don't know if it was because of that device, or if it was because, he's past the time limit to use them.
Well, the device that he put on him, what did it do? It
I thought it changed the formula, so they made the antimatter unstable.
No. It made the motor circuits of Thundercracker or Skywarp unable to move properly, so they couldn't use Megatron's antimatter gun form.
Yeah, he couldn't move on his own,
Right.
So he was trying, and what he was doing, he kept shooting the antimatter gun, and I think it just kind of like overheated and made everything unstable. So Megatron was like, oh, we have to stop this, because you're not taking like measured shots in time. You're just like losing control and stuff like that. But yeah, I would definitely say that he was definitely like the main character. He was more in the main character than Spike has been, I feel like, in every episode so far.
He's been more useful, yeah.
This is what I was thinking when Optimus thanked him at the end. I was like, we're proud to have you, Chip. We're proud to have you as our audience stand-in. I'd say that was already Spike's role, but children don't like playing the damsel in distress.
It's
When he started saying that line, I thought he was just going to say to kind of like stick around with the Autobots and like help them like defeat the Decepticons and stuff like that. But yeah, it just seems Optimus isn't a very good scout of talent and stuff like that, so you just let him go. I'd rather rely on Cliffjumper. He's reliable.
Again, Cliffjumper. You're actually, you know what? You sound like Starscream from Transformers Prime now. Did you know I killed Cliffjumper?
Oh my god, I just made that connection. I completely forgot. Wow, now I'm really like, what's up with me? Like, how could I be like, I'm like a super Starscream fanboy. I love him and love his reasoning and motivation for everything. And then I just can't. Cliffjumper is supposedly supposed to be new to me. I'm watching these episodes and just like thinking for the first time, just like, wow, this Cliffjumper guy really sucks. I really hate him. I wish something bad would happen to him. And like, I already saw my favorite guy kill him already.
Yep. You had internalized this.
Wow. It's like, I guess maybe I watched Prime. I was like, oh, Starscream, why do you have to kill an Autobot? What did Cliffjumper ever do? Little did I know. Oh my god. Thank you, Sammy.
You're welcome. I'm glad we've all learned something today.
Wow. I can't believe that.
So, Starscream's blunders / stupid moments.
Don't tell me what to do. I'm not like the others. I do what I want when I want.
I like... The whole plan is, Spike, you will get distracted, so Starscream will pick you up. Then you, the other human, run in there. Hopefully Spike is still alive when you attach this to his knee.
It's a foolproof plan.
Yeah, that seemed like a weird plan. Just like... Somebody ran up. He ran up with a jackhammer. It was hitting him in the leg with a jackhammer. I was like, oh, this is so stupid.
This leads, though, to a stupid moment that was actually stupid on purpose. And that's when Rumble's just like, sees a boulder rolling towards him and doesn't see Mirage's footprints also. Because Hound is using a hologram of a boulder in front of him to hide. And he's just like... He wonders what's up, and then Hound starts talking, so it's like a voice in his head. But I actually thought it was kind of funny. I remember this as a kid, finding this funny when I was little.
I mean, I didn't laugh.
I thought it was cute.
I didn't laugh.
It was a cute moment.
I thought it was just stupid. I was like, wow, Rumble is an idiot. He seems like the dumbest Transformer period so far. He was so confused about what was happening with this rock instead of footprints. And then a voice just starts talking next to him. And he's like, is this in my head? Is this somebody trying to pull a trick on me? And he's just kind of like going along with the voice. But then right after that, when they finally get the humans out of that lab or whatever, and Optimus, a giant 18-wheeler, is barreling down on you, he just stands there. It doesn't jump out of the way or anything. He just gets destroyed as Optimus rams through the wall that he's standing on. He's an idiot. After all that stuff on top of what Optimus did, yeah, he seems to be the dumbest one, even worse than the Dinobots.
Did any of you guys have any more stupid moments that you could think of this episode?
This isn't really like a stupid, I don't know, it's just a weird thing, but like after everyone gets fixed or healed towards the end of the episode, it pans across to all the robots being like, yeah, I'm healed, and Jazz is just twirling his hands repeatedly. I don't know what it is, but he's just like, I'm having a real good old time just twirling my hands here. I guess they're working. And like, I have a gif of this, and like, I could just stare at it forever, being like, are you trying to do jazz hands? Like, is that what's trying to happen?
That's weird. I wish I caught that. I want to go back and see this. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe he's trying to keep him limber or whatever.
I think I didn't watch this episode, but I saw it on the GIF that I was about to send you before you got here.
I want to see it. Send it to me. I want to see this. But yeah,
the GIF is so beautiful.
That's pretty funny.
Any from you?
This isn't a stupid moment, but I'm still confused by what happened. So I guess off air I mentioned that there were 3 Autobots in the show that I wasn't familiar with. That I guess 2 of them I looked up. So because I was just so confused, what are these guys doing? Because they called one of them called the other. He said, "All right, bro," to the other.
Well, remember in the
Sunstreaker
book,
and Sideswipe.
Yeah, remember we read in the book that they were brothers.
Oh, they're actual brothers. Okay, so that was one of the questions I wanted to know. Is like, was this just a brothers in arms kind of thing, or were they like there's an actual like brotherly connection? So I guess that answers that, but still, that doesn't answer how did they end up out of the base, and why were they on top of the flyers just rodeoing them?
Well, that leads to the retcon. So, in all these episodes, in between episodes 3 and 4, the Autobots in our first major retcon have forgotten how to fly. Can you guys come up with a logical explanation for this? I have already come up with my own, in which I believe, so as they adjusted to Earth's gravity, they found they could no longer defy it. That's all I could think of.
I would just say that maybe building onto the Earth's gravity thing, maybe there's more gravity, so they're not as energy efficient as the Decepticons. So the flying mode was just disabled because it uses too much energon. And unlike the Decepticons, where they just take whatever they need, the Autobots are more Earth friendly and don't want to use up too much of Earth's resources.
Such a nice way of putting it.
Sammy, do you have a made-up reason?
I like Thomas's answer, but I was just going to say they didn't want to be like the Decepticons. They wanted their own thing.
The roads and failure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it. Because it doesn't even make sense to me, really, from a standpoint of writing the show and the characters. Why would you take away a key power from one side?
Well, I think it's to make making the villains have more of a threat and more power. It's more you that way that they're in more danger, and so when they overcome it, they've done extreme odds to come and win.
Well, I mean, I feel like you could still do that without necessarily taking away their powers. The way it is. How it was described in the first episode, the Decepticons scanned a bunch of machines of war, and Autobots were just cars and patrol vehicles and stuff like that. So they could always just be, we're just like kind of like regular machinery going up against war machines and stuff like that. I mean, it would seem kind of odd. Why is a car man flying in the sky and stuff like that? I mean, from that aspect, it seems kind of weird. But then Soundwave flies, Megatron flies,
and they aren't in jet form.
Yeah, they don't have airplanes or anything like that.
I think from a not writing standpoint, it's easier for kids to be like, oh, the flying ones are bad, the ones that don't fly are good. So if everyone's just flying around like they can't figure out who's who. It's just kind of, I mean, they probably could, but like it's easier for them to discern between the two sides.
Yeah, then there's always the major retcon, which just means that stuff you saw never happened. They never actually flew those 3 episodes, and you just gotta rewrap your brain around that. But I don't like doing that. I like coming up with bullshit reasons, BS reasons for why this is.
I guess did they always air those first 3 episodes? How often did they air them?
Along with all of the others.
It was always just in rotation. Yeah. Okay.
Kids just adjust. They deal with it. So, here's some deleted audio.
They must be terminated.
The first few seconds of deleted audio, I think, is pretty interesting.
Thundercracker, Soundwave, follow me.
Since when do you give the orders, Starscream?
Since Megatron deserted us in our hour of need, Thundercracker, I am the new leader of the Decepticons.
I like how nobody wants to be the leader, so they just accept Starscream being the leader. They're just like, it's too much effort.
It's fine. Starscream wants to be leader anyways. Just let him.
I mean, it seems like that's always how it's been. It seems, I don't know, even in Prime, it just seemed when Megatron was gone, it's just Starscream they just immediately went along just because and just didn't really they didn't really question it in the moment until later where everybody immediately just turns. Like, it just takes a moment for them to realize, wait a minute, we made this guy the leader. So it seemed like that same thing happened in this episode as well, where like, we got to get out of this battle. He says he's the leader. He's saying we got to go. Let's just do it before they realize, wait a minute, this is really dumb.
Try picking on a mechanism your own size.
I will, Prime. Bigger mechanisms make bigger targets.
And bigger bozos, Thundercracker! Stop!
I mean, that's a really weird line
I know.
in reading.
Sammy, your thoughts on that one?
It sounded just like a giant mouthful where it's happening.
It just seems like a lot of people just talking right on top of each other. It's just hard to discern. I mean, that probably would have been much watching that play out and like the actual animation. That would have been like a lot of scene switching if they all weren't in the same shot and stuff.
Yeah, and I couldn't even tell which Decepticon was trying to fight Optimus at that point from that voice.
I think it was Thundercracker. I think he's the one with the deep voice.
Okay.
Eject Operation Retrieval.
Prime! We can't desert Chip now!
Who's deserting? We're just following Rumble's advice to not do anything stupid. Autobots, transform for action.
I've never heard Optimus say the word stupid, and it just sounded so hilarious.
That was beautiful.
I just want to make that like, one of my voices on my phone. Don't do anything stupid.
I love how he says it like, stupid. Like, he has such a... I don't even know what when he says that.
But another one is just one dialogue that I don't even know Optimus ever uses again, but here it is.
Hey, everybody, listen up. All right, bro, let's go.
Autobots, go for freedom.
Okay.
Roll for freedom.
Yes.
When did the show become Reagan's Transformers? What? The Super Patriot? What? Well, I guess they do fight for freedom in a way. They mentioned freedom before in the first episode.
Freedom is the right of all sentient beings.
Yeah. I mean...
But roll for freedom is like...
Are we playing D&D? Roll for freedom.
Are they getting ready to run a marathon?
Like, all I could think about is dice, and I'm just like, all right, yeah, they're playing D&D, or playing a nice board game. Like,
I don't even know where that's placed in the scene. Like, are they trying to free somebody, or?
It's probably the scene where they drive. Well, I guess no, because all the Autobots are inside Optimus at that time. I was going to say when they roll straight at Rumble on the wall.
So that was some clips. So next, Megatron's energy.
Sarcasm not appreciated.
This time, he used antimatter that's supposed to be extremely powerful. Like, one anti-energon cube blows up all the Autobots and they have to retreat. But we're never told anywhere in the episode that antimatter is more powerful. We actually just watch it happen. It's like show without telling at all. And even at the end, they never tell you that antimatter is unstable. At least that's the impression that I got, that antimatter was unstable, and that's why Megatron had to eject it before it exploded inside his chest.
Yeah, I don't recall explicit description of what the antimatter was. It just seemed it was a way to get like infinite energy in a way, but they never really talked about like it being like super unstable. That scene where he throws
no
one
description.
cube and it just made that giant explosion. It was like, oh wow, this stuff is really crazy powerful.
I was hoping something would be on the deleted audio, but nothing was on there either. So let's move on to our character spotlight.
Cool. Blue Streak quote, "I have never met a Decepticon I didn't dislike." Yeah, well, all right. Description, Blue Streak often talks incessantly and insanely. What?
Inanely.
No, inanely. That's a word. Okay, cool. I'm going to try that again. Blue Streak often talks incessantly and inanely, lightens the situation for all Autobots with his good-natured manners. Despite formidable weaponry and blazing speed, he hates war. Haunted by memory of Decepticons destroying his home city, firebombs... What? Wait, hold on. I feel like we're back to Cliffjumper.
That's what I was going to say.
No, he wants peace. All right?
That's fair, but got some of that memories of Decepticons destroying home city. Like, I can see that under Cliffjumper's description. Firebombs up to 8.3 miles and lightning like 80,000 volt beam up to 12 miles of limited accuracy, often inhibited by his disdain for combat.
That seems anti-Cliffjumper.
It is. It's true. They took this whole memory thing in two different ways.
He takes those Japanese lyrics to heart. He takes that violence and just throws it away.
So here's the thing is, Blue Streak is one of the forgettable Transformers. You see him transform in front of Prowl, and they're the exact same design, except Blue Streak has a different insignia on his head. I'm like, okay. I mean, I saw this episode when I was a kid, but I have no memory of any Blue Streak existing. I don't remember his car form, his robot form, or his personality. And I saw almost every episode of... I must have seen almost all the episodes of season 1 and 2 as a child.
Oh, really? Wow. That's a name that I always hear, like Blue Streak, and he was in Prime as well.
Nope.
He wasn't in Prime?
No.
He's not been
Blue Streak.
Go ahead.
The only thing he's been in recently has been the comics, and even that was a bit part, but the only thing I remember him from the comics is because he was referencing wanting to watch Earth TV. Like, that's it. Like, and also he does make a joke about, it's just like, oh yeah, well, no one cares about me, I'm just a recolor of Prowl, and I'm just like, oh. Well, I mean, you're not wrong.
I mean, wow, that's weird. Because, I don't know. I feel like I always hear his name. He's a prominent figure. I thought he would have been used more. I mean, for Shawn to say that, he's not really going to be on the show all that much.
Mm-hmm. I think the Blue Streak fans are just very loud.
I mean, he has a cool design, so maybe people really like the figure or whatever.
This is how you know he's not that popular. At the TF Wiki site, every character I've looked at has had 5 pages of information. Blue Streak had 2.
Aww.
All the information from the other 4 pages that wasn't main page all fit on one.
That's sad.
The only time he's appeared in a cartoon is Robots in Disguise for a single episode. And apparently, they repackaged his toy. They packaged his toy incorrectly, so for years people thought there was another Blue Streak who was actually blue because he's not blue, but his packaging on the art showed him being blue when you bought his toy.
He is a mess. He is a sad little mess. He does, I think, have a hollow form thing in the comics as well. He's enough of a character to have his own hollow form, though.
Did you when you watched G1 the first time, Sammy, do you remember Blue Streak at all?
Nope. I was watching this one and I was like, oh hey, it's this Blue Streak. It's his first appearance. Do we see him again?
What's his fate after the movie? Who cares?
Wait, I still function.
I'm sorry, but I gotta do my due diligence. For all I know, there's a Blue Streak fan over there who's excited about my format and be like, oh man, I can finally find out what happens to him, and then I just totally dissed him. So he's seen in the Transformers movie at Autobot City before the Decepticons attack, and it completely vanishes from all of space and time. He's not in any of the Japanese comics, the manga. We just have to assume he's one of the many bodies buried under Autobot City.
Oh. He deserved better.
Maybe next time he won't be born looking exactly like somebody else.
He get a paint job. Like, everyone else gets to change their bodies every so often.
I mean, kind of to piggyback on what you said, and this is probably going to be twisting the knife even more. All this time, I thought Prowl was a Blue Streak. So now Prowl is just... He's just even more nothing to me now. I thought the police car was Blue Streak, but Prowl is the police car. I'm looking at Prowl. I was like, who is this? I don't know who that is, and I don't like him. He doesn't seem Man, I hate this. I mean, I don't want to do this. It was an honest mistake, but now I feel bad.
They look nothing alike.
I don't know why. Blue Streak, it just sounds like, I don't know, cop to me, police to me, but no.
Also, Blue Streak is such a nice name. Like, it's such a good Transformer name. It's just used on the wrong bot.
Fun fact here, but apparently Blue Streak, Hasbro didn't own the rights for it for a while because another company did for their toy when their rights lapsed. So all future versions of the toy were called Silver Streak before they regained the rights again.
Good. Now it's even more confusing for him.
Yeah, I mean, the most interesting thing about him was his name, and now they just take his name away and give him something stupid, Silver Streak. I don't know, that's dumb.
Well, on that note, we hope we haven't crushed any hearts of Blue Streak lovers out there. So we're going to sign off this episode, and we'll return with an audio cassette adventure from the Transformers. So, today, signing out, I'm Shawn.
Thomas.
Hot salmon this.
Good night. Thanks to tfwiki.net for information used in our Character Spotlight feature. Thanks for YouTube user Transformers at the Moon for hosting every deleted audio segment from every episode of the Transformers.
There was also another thing where Optimus, at the end of the episode, towards the end of the episode, he's like, we've suffered losses. And I'm like, who died?
Yeah.
There were like 5 robots with you.
I know. I was like, maybe they went to get repaired at Ratchet, and he's like, I can only repair 3 of these 8 right now. The rest of you are just gonna have to die.
All right, I guess they're gone.